Wow, mirror, mirror on the wall, will Bitcoin continue to fall? I wish my psychiatrist would return my call, because we have so much to get into in today's update. In fact, Bitcoin did actually come down, and you can see the first time it did actually dip its toes into filling this gap. Now it has actually completely filled this gap. No ifs, ands, or nuts about it. Absolutely huge. But guys, we have to take a look at this. Is there yet, as we mentioned in the last episode, another gap down here at the $7,700 mark? Guys, the question on everyone's mind is Bitcoin going to continue to fall? And everyone, it would be silly for us not to mention what is going on in the broader economic space right now. Will that have an impact? Bitcoin was created as a refuge to this sort of market. Bitcoin's purpose is to sort of battle this, but guys, the transition might not be as quick and as seamless that some people might expect. There's so much fear going on in the markets right now, guys. Many of you are aware of that, so we have to factor that into this analysis. Not only cryptocurrency, we see gold, we see markets abroad taking a little bit of a tumble. But primarily what we want to focus on in this update is the lowest that Bitcoin can go and still maintain a healthy pattern. Guys, we mentioned this potential cup and handle forming. There is in fact still another bullish pattern that could happen if this pattern did break out. Again, it's not my favorite pattern, but we can take a look at it. It doesn't look very pretty, but we can take a look at that here because, again, if we hit this support level, which is much lower than we are right now, not much lower, but is significant, there is still a mega bounce zone, and we have to take a look at this right here, guys. This is going to be the key level where you have this red line converging on this key market structure line, and every day that goes by, this gets higher and higher, and if we would hit a certain target, if we would have to come down to fill that certain level, the longer time goes on, the worse I personally think that would be. I think it would be better if we got it over, if we wicked down there sooner than later. And with all of the news culminating right now in the markets everywhere, I think again that a massive flash crash bounce up would be the best situation right now instead of a prolonged period. If we see this continue for the next few weeks, that would not be good. So guys, we're going to talk about all that situations and more. Sit back, relax, and hide your toes because this tickle monster is coming for you. Guys, let's get into it. Wow, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to an emergency update. There is so much going on in these markets. Look at this, trends for you. The first thing trending for me right here, hashtag stock market crash 2020. I just refreshed this Twitter page, and that is what's showing up as the top here, guys. Dow Jones, look at this. We have so much going on here. But guys, to brighten up the mood as well, we are doing this Ledger giveaway tomorrow, so all you have to do to make sure is leave a comment below, and make sure you subscribe, like, turn. We'll do that on YouTube, and as well, we're doing one on Twitter as well, you guys. So all you have to do to enter that one is give this tweet right here a retweet. So far, not many people are entered, so your chances of winning are pretty good. So guys, we have to take a look at these charts. Bitcoin is obviously having a downturn, but as of the last day, it was actually holding at a key level right on that 200-day moving average. Earlier today, we actually dropped about $200, so currently we're actually below that. We are at a significant point of support, but for the time being, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I think this would be better right now if within the next day or two we had a continued drop into Bitcoin. And I want to tell you why, you guys. So first we can take a look here at the CME gap. Now, many people were talking about this gap here, this one here, right around the 85 for the past few weeks right here. Now that one you can see pretty sizable, okay? You can see this is where the gap was right here. And you can see now that gap has actually been filled. Not only did it actually go through the top, but it sliced through it and actually went about $100 below that as well. I didn't necessarily like seeing this because I was like, this doesn't look like it was filled. I was reading comments everywhere saying it was filled, but to me that does not necessarily look filled. Now this is what looks filled. However, with that in mind, we have to go down and we have to take a look at this. Again, I read somewhere on Twitter actually that like 95% of these gaps get filled. Is this one of the 5% that doesn't have to get filled? Or could it be one of the 95, many of the 95 that does have to get filled? Now you guys, currently we are in a downtrend over the last few days, okay? Now, these are natural and healthy in a market, but considering what's going on with the stock market, we have to maybe zoom back out a little bit and adjust that statement. However, in general, this pullback and everything we're seeing with Bitcoin as well is still actually not even that bad right now. Right now, it's actually looking pretty decent. I'm actually surprised Bitcoin has not dropped a lot more considering stock and gold, everything is kind of plummeting right now. However, if we were to come down and actually fill this gap, I think doing it sooner than later would be the best. I think getting this out of the way and then maybe continuing up over the next few weeks would be the best thing. But right now, we really have to see how everything plays out in these broader traditional markets. Again, it's very much unknown right now. This entire thing could be over in the next week. this entire thing could be prolonged for the next few weeks. Nobody knows quite yet, but in fact, we do, if, while this thing is red hot, right now it's red hot, right? The markets are coming down. Everyone's talking about the S&P, the Dow. Look at this. Look at this, guys. This is not Bitcoin. This is, in fact, the S&P 500. Look at this. What are you trading altcoins? No. This is actually one of the most respected and trusted indexes, stocks. And look at this. It looks like some kind of absolute garbage coin, just dropping like crazy. Now, if Bitcoin did come down, again, like I said on this chart here, it would be nice to see that happen soon. It would look pretty ugly on this chart, okay? Down here, or maybe not even necessarily a big bounce, but like coming down here, if that would be possible. Again, we don't even know necessarily. This doesn't necessarily have to be filled, but just to err on the side of caution, that could be a possibility that we're looking at. Now, how bad is that? So this is the 4-hour chart, so that looks pretty drastic. If we zoom out, let's actually go to this chart. If we zoom out, that would actually be right down to here on this chart, which would still put us above where we broke out of back at the beginning of January. So again, it is not actually that bad if this would happen. Now, this is key here though, because that gap is right where a key market structure line converges as well. So let's zoom out. We can kind of give you guys a big picture of this, okay? Because this has been key. I zoom back out to, the end of 2018. So, over a year ago, and it looks like, oh, is that how far the trend goes back? No. And in fact, goes back much farther than that. You guys can see to at least the beginning of 2015. So this goes back at least 5 years. Okay, this key market structure line is very important here. And again, it is where we bottomed out, along with the 200-day moving average, the 200-week moving average is where this was. We'll have to take a look at this here. This could be the perfect bottoming zone before bouncing back if Bitcoin is able to do that. Now, this could play out over the next week or so. Again, I don't want to discount the influence that traditional markets and the entire economy in general could be having right now. For the most part, Bitcoin has been able to thrive in the past 10 years without too much interference from the broader economy, but with the potential looming threat of this going on. Will this see Bitcoin soar over the next year and Bitcoin really actually explode? Could that be the case? Because we have to take a look at two scenarios here. There's a scenario that, some people say, well, if the stock market's crashing and they're losing investments and everything like that, why would they invest in Bitcoin? Which is a valid point. That could hold some credence there. But we also have to remember why Bitcoin was created in the first place back at the end, 2009, 2010, as a response to the crash in the first place of 2008. Okay, Bitcoin was created as a hedge, as a response to this in general. That was why Bitcoin was created. So in a sense, markets doing stuff like this is only the beginning, I personally think. Markets doing some stuff like this is exactly what Bitcoin was created for. Now, the transition might not be very seamless, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It might not automatically, within the next, obviously, few months, stocks continue to crash and Bitcoin goes sky high or something like that. But overall, over the next few years, that is kind of the point of Bitcoin, the point of cryptocurrency, the point of decentralized currency. I do agree that people are not going to be rushing in to buy Bitcoin over the next 2 days if the stock market goes down another 1,000 points. Obviously, that doesn't make any sense. However, in the broader scheme of things, long term, I 100% do believe that would be what would happen, because again, that is what it was created for, and the people invested in cryptocurrency understand that as well. So we take a look at this chart, and some people have actually been mentioning this potential inverse head and shoulders. This is a really ugly chart. I really don't like this, considering this so ugly there. Again, the head of here, there's 3 heads here. So I don't really like looking at that either. But again, this could be a very similar pattern to what we're already seeing anyway. There are many reversal patterns, again, the cup and handle potentially within this chart right here. So I do tend to think there will be a bounce here anyway. And actually where the bounce would be, if this would be an inverse head and shoulder, would actually be around that $7,600 level, guys. So I have these lines here. You can see where it gets really dicey in terms of this last inverse head and shoulders and where the bottom could be for that. Okay, but we have this potential shoulder here, the left, and let's actually use the actual tool for this. Let's actually use the actual tool for this. Let's say this is the shoulder. Again, it's really ugly, so I don't like drawing it on here exactly. But let's say then it came back down to this. Okay, guys, right here, and then let's go down to here, okay? So let's even say, it could even go down to 75, 76, I think would be much, it could not go below that, I personally think. So again, that is a potential pattern we're seeing playing out here. Now that actually looks kind of interesting. And when you draw that, again, there are some outliers. This is kind of ugly. Like I said, the left here does not match up really nice. We wish we could kind of erase that to make it look more pretty. But again, that could be a pattern that we're seeing that would play out over the next week or two. Okay, that could happen pretty quickly over the next few weeks. But again, that's what I'm seeing with Bitcoin. it looks actually pretty healthy. But the thing we have to keep in mind is we cannot discount what's actually going on in these broader markets. If this recovers within the next week, I highly doubt that it will. If this recovers in the next week, then we can continue on with our solo Bitcoin analysis as usual. But again, I just think for right now, we do have to factor in these other markets because, guys, these are global markets. Bitcoin is a global currency. Whether or not they're exactly correlated, there is some relationship. If the Dow Jones went to zero tomorrow, do you think that Bitcoin would be sitting at 8,000 US dollars? Absolutely not, okay? There is at least some correlation. If every single dollar left stocks tomorrow, you bet your butt that there would be, maybe not every dollar, but there would be a lot of money that would leave Bitcoin as well. Obviously, Dow Jones is not going to go to $0 until maybe cryptocurrency actually is the preferred solution and is used more. Maybe, 10, 15 years down the road, something like that. Who knows, guys? But crises like we're facing right now is where massive changes can happen. It's where they do happen when panic is in the air, because there's some panic in the air. Believe me, there is actually some right now. But the full extent to how much panic there could be, I don't even think we have seen yet. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in to this amazing episode. Make sure to get your juice, stock up on that water, so you never run out of juice and water to drink, you guys. So guys, thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one.